see through. Come on, Drake. Tomorrow, Monday, Drake is on Drink Champ.
Say that you a lesbian, girl, me too. Hey, girls want girls where I'm from. Hey, girls want girls.
DreCey, Drink Champs, Drink Champs, DreCey.
Drink Champ.
Well, you heard it there first, folks. Apparently, Drake is going to end up on Drink Champs. I'm not excited.
No,
I'm not excited for this. I think Nori does a great job, and he's very entertaining. But I think that Nori is going to ask all the questions that anyone would expect him to ask, which is great. You want your questions answered. But let me just come out and say, I think that he should have went on Joe Budden's podcast, just because there's more of a history there. I've never heard anything about Drake and Nori. I've heard nothing about that. To me,
that could be the reason why it's a great idea for him to go on the show then, because there's no history of no beef. There's not going to be any type of animosity. Nori, if you watch his Drink Champs interviews, he actually asks the questions that people like want to ask. He doesn't shy away from the topics or anything like that.
Yeah, I know. I just said that.
And there's a rumor. Well, I'm just saying there's a rumor that he's going to be asking Drake about his beef with DMX, RIP. So if that's true, from what I've heard, I want to hear just that. I'm willing to watch it just for that part, because that's been a question I've had forever.
Drink Champ interviews could be 2 to 3 hours. So unless Drake is spending an hour talking about his issues with DMX, RIP, this is going to be boring. So even if he went and sat down with Joe Budden and Joe Budden didn't ask him, or let's just say he said, no, out of respect for D, I don't even want to talk about that. He didn't even want it. It would still be hella interesting because those two have a relationship, to use your words, they have beef. The tension alone would just make it interesting. And also, I feel like Budden will get more to the shits. He won't let stuff slide because of that previous, I'd say previous, maybe they're still going on, but because of that animosity, Joe won't let Drake give that general answer. That's what I think would be. And I think that Budden deserves that, not to negate the work that Drink Champs has put in, but I think the Joe Budden podcast deserves that interview over Drink Champs. I said
well,
it.
I don't know. I remember watching an interview that Drake did with Elliot Wilson like a few years ago, and that interview was like 2 hours long, the full interview. And that interview was very interesting. I found that interview very interesting. Of course, at that time, he had the beef going on with Meek Mill and his drama with Nicki Minaj. Like, there was a whole lot more public going on that he had to deal with at the time. But I'm saying there's issues that he's had right now, especially the things that's going on with him and Ye, the things that's going on with him and Pusha still. He can talk about how him and Nicki Minaj how they reconciled and all that stuff, his situation with Birdman. There's lots of stuff that he could talk about that he hasn't spoken on, because the thing about Drake, what makes his interview so interesting is that he doesn't do them so often. So when time comes for him to do an interview, everybody's going to tune in because he's going to have something to say, because there's going to be so much time in between the last time he's actually spoken on behalf of himself, and we're not reading it from a headline or a newspaper article or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's the whole science. That's why Kendrick doesn't do a lot of press. That's why J. Cole doesn't do a lot of press. They keep that artistic mystique about them. Although Drake does a lot of social media, which kind of dilutes that. But that's the whole reason why artists like that don't do a lot of press. So when they do speak, they listen, which is great. I'm not saying the interview isn't going to be good. Of course it's going to be good. He doesn't talk a lot, so it's going to be good. I just think the conversation would be a more entertaining conversation if it came from Budden. But
Drake's not concerned about. I think Drake is more concerned about doing or getting an interview or doing an interview for somebody that he actually fucking likes. Yeah, he's not trying to do an interview to help. He's not trying to do an interview to help you get more views on your page, because yeah, he might end up working a deal where he gets some money from it, but most likely he's just gonna, I'd rather do it for one of my homies for free.
Well, put it this way. It's so interesting that you said what you just said about helping, because naturally, of course, if you believe what they put out as a perception, because what else would we know? We don't know any of these people personally. We don't know Drake. We don't know Button. We don't know Nori. But if you believe what they put out to the public, I feel like Drake going to Drink Champs would be helping Drink Champs more than Drake going to Button.
No,
Yes, and
especially where the Joe Budden podcast is right now.
so
Not a
the reason why I think that is because Drake going to Joe Budden's podcast again. This might seem like a reach here, but again, let's not forget that Drake fans showed up at Joe Budden's house. So since they have that animosity between them, it's not going to be a sweet interview. In fact, some depending on where the conversation could go, and it could only go into a negative space with Budden and Drake. It's not going to get negative with Drake and Nori. It's just not going to happen. So back to if it goes into a really negative space, as powerful as Drake is, some bad shit can happen as a repercussion of sitting down with Drake, Budden and Drake sitting down together. When Drake sits down with Nori, it's going to be great times, as it should. But guess what? I'm not a product of the internet. I'm not of this generation, but I've experienced it long enough to know that I like the shits. When I watch,
you fucked up. You're fucked up.
when I watched the
for
Whack
wrong reason.
when I watched the Whack 100 and Tekashi interview, as horrible as it is, I was entertained, and it was 3 hours long. I don't want to see Drake sitting down there talking about shit that he's already addressed in his music. I heard it already. I don't need it in spoken word now. I heard the song. So I'm not going to hear anything new. I would prefer the Budden Drake podcast. My opinion.
Some people watch interviews for the interviews, and then there's other people.
I'm the other people. And there's a lot of
Shut up. No.
there's a lot of me out there. Viewing public, what are your thoughts here? Do you think this interview is going to be good? What interview do you think would be more entertaining? Because in fact, that's why you go on to YouTube. That's why you watch a movie. That's why you do a lot. You want to be entertained. You step away from your reality, which is boring as F, to be entertained. So which one do you think would be more entertaining? Budden and Drake, or Nori and Drake? Not saying who's the better interview. I'm talking about entertainment. Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And after the interview's out, we'll be back to talk about that too. Deuces.
And how entertaining it was.
It could go either way. So look, R. Kelly is in jail. He's been sentenced guilty. And you can see by the looks on our faces, we're not surprised. Like at all. Our most recent R. Kelly video, shout out, I believe her name is Nia X. She came back to the video and was like, he's guilty. And then I'm like, yo, we're going to two-step in the name of love. And then she did like a dancing emoji and she was like, aye. Because this is a person with common sense and logic. So if you thought for a second that he was going to be innocent, I don't know what's wrong with you. And if you thought for a second this is like the cabal or some mystic, organization that's just after all the black men in Hollywood, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm not saying it does. But this is not that. This is a sick person that I want to get help. I don't want him to remain sick while he's incarcerated. I want him to try to better himself inside. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I wish for him. What are your thoughts? See, I could have went totally left with it, but I'm growing as a person. What do you think?
I'm not growing as a person. I'm still the little kid right now. So me personally, I'm done talking about this nigga. I think I've said everything that I need to say about him. And no matter what I say, there's people who always come to his defense. So instead of me talking to the convicted sexual abuser and rapist, let me talk to the people who like to come to his defense. Let me put this into 3 categories, because there's 3 categories of people that like to come for us. That's the men, that's the women, and that's the religious people. Okay, let's start off with the men. Now, after hearing the stories and the testimonies or of these ladies, these accusers, 11 different ones, after hearing the words that came from his own ex-wife's mouth, after hearing the stories that have come from his most recent ex-girlfriends and all of these things and the similarities that they have, the fact that these ladies don't know each other, let's just take all of that into account, because that can't be faked. You can't make me believe that there's this huge group of women that their sole purpose is to just come for R. Kelly. And it's like an interweb of like different spies that have been sent, of women spies sent, and they don't communicate with each other, each their own shell. And now the ultimate plan has been plotted. Stop. They didn't know each other at first. Okay. So if you're a man and you can listen to these stories and you still are in the comments about free R. Kelly, about you bozos don't know what you're talking about. Well, listen here, sucker. You don't know what the fuck you talking about, because I know for a fact you obviously have no respect for women. Because even if one of these women was telling the truth of the 11 accusers, just one, even if one was telling the truth, you're an asshole. You know why? Because you have totally ignored the woman's side of this, and you are only paying attention to your own selfish reasons as a man and trying to stick beside the man, but all these women are coming from. Shut up. I'm done with you. Let's move on to the women. Now, the women, it's even worse, because you should be feeling for the victims of these things. Like I said, even if one of these women was telling the truth, there was a lady who testified that the man forced her to eat shit on camera. And then because she didn't look like she was enjoying it, she had to go have sex with one of his friends. She was forced. How do you hear a story like that as a woman and say, you know what, but I really like you, remind me, but step in the name of love. But I believe, are you disgusting? What is wrong with you? Do you have fermented parts? Are you unable to reproduce? Who are you angry at? You must be angry at yourself, because to look at these women, you must see a reflection of yourself and then have some kind of empathy for the things that they must have went through. Whether you believe, once again, all the stories or not, it only takes one. Now, let me talk to the religious people who want to bring God into this. You want to bring God into every situation where you don't have an actual real life explanation to get out of shit. You think I'm dumb. I just went down and spent a day with my aunt. Love you, auntie. More religious than all the people in the comments. And we had a discussion about this specifically because I wanted to see how she felt about it religious wise. I said that there's a lot of people who want to bring God into the situation. She was unfamiliar with the entire situation. Perfect, unbiased opinion. I asked her, after telling her what the full story was, how she felt about it. She said, that man is disgusting, and I hope he goes to jail. I said, but auntie, that's not your decision to make. That's God's decision to make. According to the people in the comments, we don't have a right to have an opinion. She goes, well, I don't know about these people in the comments. I've never met these people in the comments, but I don't know if you can tell all these people in the comments that this man is disgusting, because what he did is on this earth, and you get judged for it, what you do when you're on this earth. You get judged for what you do when you're on this earth, whether it be by man or by God. It is up to God, once you pass, to make the judgment as to whether or not what you has done should allow you in or out. That's the judgment that's left up to God. And I said, drop the mic.
Yeah, and that kind of goes without saying. God is not going to descend from the heavens on a criminal case and decide what's going on. That's not God's flex. But look, if I said it once, I'll never say it again. Let's step in the name of love.
I wish you could play it without getting. Well, you know what? Just give it a few weeks. You might be able to play it as a free song, because that won't be on streaming or any platform much longer.
And just as a quick side note before we get up out of here, R. Kelly was trending on social media because Celebrity Net Worth, they updated his net worth to -2 million, and then everybody was retweeting it. And the whole thing was show your emoji to reaction. And also it was everybody retweet if you have more money than R. Kelly.
Wow.
Wow.
How quickly they turn, eh?
Viewing public. Yeah.
Fickle.
Again, I have my thoughts, I have my feelings, but he's got all the time in the world now. Hopefully he gets right, man. The first step of healing, of moving on for him, not me and you. You got to own your shit. Ask God for forgiveness, and he may have done that. We don't know. When you talk to God, it's you and God. So we don't know. But he definitely owes those people an apology, a public apology. That's what I think. But what do I know? Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd say it was a happy ending. Um, Kyrie Irving could miss home games because of vaccine status. Now, here in Ontario, gotta have that passport if you want to. If you want to go to the movies, you want to go to the gym,
You know what? You know how like nigga, you
restaurant.
every time you say this shit, you say it with that stupid grin on your face.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that grin on your face because I know that's a little shot to the people who have not been vaccinated low key.
Look, I believe that if you want to be vaccinated, you should be vaccinated. If you don't want to be
I know you're
vaccinated,
pro-choice, but you're
you
happy
don't
that you're
have to be
able to go to all
vaccinated.
these places. Yeah, you're happy
Yeah.
that you're able to go all these places.
100%. And by the way, I haven't gone to any of them. But Kyrie Irving missing games.
Hmm.
I mean, you're the sportsman here. I mean, what do you think? Oh, by the way, I want to point out one thing before you go.
Okay.
The
Okay.
the NHL, I believe it's about 97% of their players have been vaccinated. Also, I think it's important to note that there was no mandate, there was no forcing for people to get vaccinated. It was
Hmm.
just like, hey, get vaccinated. Now, people believe that there was a little bit of a motivation as far as crossing the border, but there was no mandate, no nothing like that. 97% of their players have been vaccinated. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's different stipulations here in Canada for the athletes than there are in the States. There's a couple of states, mainly New York and San Francisco, where to do any form of entertainment indoors, you have to be fully vaccinated. So that's why this has become an issue now. Because if you're an NBA player, uh, and you're going to one of these games, or you play for either these teams, namely Golden State, or you play for the New York Knicks or the Nets, then you're going to have an issue because you won't be allowed inside of the stadium unless you're fully vaccinated. That's why this is a big issue. Kyrie Irving being one of the biggest players on the Brooklyn Nets, this is an issue because he has no intentions of getting vaccinated. They spoke to his aunt, and his aunt was saying this is not a religious thing because one of the exemptions, of course, was to be that it could be a religious thing, which of course another player, for those who know, Andrew Wiggins of the Golden State Warriors, tried to pass it off as his not wanting to be vaccinated was a religious reason. Good try. I don't knock you for trying, but it failed. So he's also in the same situation, could lose $15 million this year. The biggest question that I've been hearing people say, because obviously when it comes to athletes, well, there's a few things to discuss here, but when it comes to athletes, people seem to think that they're not human and that there are certain rules that apply to them just because of the amount of money they make and the importance of what their job is for other people, not for them, for us. So when it comes to athletes, a lot of people are angry, especially with Kyrie Irving. They're saying, bro, you're getting paid millions and millions and millions of dollars. You are a big star on this team. You talk about you want to win a ring and all this stuff. All you have to do is get a little needle shot. That's all you have to do. Just get the shot and you're good to go. What is the big deal? So I ask you, as somebody who has been vaccinated, is for the vaccination, how do you feel? Do you feel like athletes, because of their responsibility, the higher
It's their
pay and all that
it's
stuff?
no, it has nothing to do with, I said it earlier. It's their choice. If they want to lose $15 million in a season, if they want to get fired, then stand for something.
So you
Stand for
don't think they have
something.
a responsibility to the team?
No, their beliefs is their beliefs. If they are truly against being vaccinated, all right, well, let me know what the deal is. Let me know if you're dropping me. Let me know what you're doing. And then let's go that route. Let's not draw this thing out. What are we doing here?
Well, the reason that they are seen as this super athlete, this super being, is because of the dedication that they put into their sport, the dedication and the love that they put into their sport. So you don't think that dedication and that love should come above all of these decisions that they're making? You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, not at all. Not at all. If I'm a Christian, you cannot sway me to become an atheist. This is what I believe. This is my faith. If I choose not to be vaccinated for whatever reason, I may not want to disclose it to you, but that's my choice. That's my choice. Let's
Right.
get to the get to. You dropping me, you keeping me. What are we doing here? Let's figure that out because I'm not getting vaccinated. Done.
Well, in Ontario in Canada, so when any athlete from the NBA comes to Canada, if they're not vaccinated, they're still going to be allowed to play. How does that happen? Because they've put in place a form of testing that each player who's unvaccinated will have to undergo a certain amount of time before the game, and they'll have to get a negative result. And if the result comes back negative, they'll be able to play. So these two states, San Francisco and New York, could also employ this if they wanted to, but they're choosing not to do that. Can you see a reason why they would choose not to do that?
It could be for a number of reasons, but if I was to say anything, it would just be speculation. It'll probably sound like a conspiracy theory, but it could be for a number of reasons. Ford does crazy shit. Why does he do it? I don't know. You know what I mean? It could be for a lot of reasons.
The biggest thing though, the biggest thing that a lot of people are trying to make this about, they're making it about, of course, about race, because like you said, the NHL 97% vaccinated, and the two leagues where the vaccination seems to be a quote unquote issue is the NHL and the NFL. Also, the two sports with probably the larger
NBA.
populations where they're NBA, sorry,
Yeah.
NBA, where there's a larger population of course minorities in there. So they're saying now that of course this is the trigger where people are saying, it's not, I don't get why these people have an issue with this thing and all of that stuff. We're not going to get into that. That's a different video. That's a different time. That's a different discussion. I don't think this has anything to do with race. This definitely doesn't have anything to do with how they feel in comparison to what you think they should do. I agree with what this guy said in the long story. The reason why I'm asking him these questions is because these are the arguments that I've heard people have. As dumb, as ridiculous as they may sound, they are things that people think are very valid. And I don't understand that at all. If Kyrie Irving doesn't want to get the shot, he shouldn't have to get the shot. And just because he does that, the fact that he's not allowed to play, I think is a bigger issue than all of this. I understand that states want to put in certain mandates and everything like that, but you can't pick and select when your superstars are above the law, above the rules, and when they're not above the laws and above the rules. And people are like, what do you mean when you say that? Well, there's been other instances where, the public, general public in these states has been shut off from certain things, certain luxuries, certain affordabilities during certain times, certain crisis. Yet still, you will see celebrities taking off in their jet planes. You'll see them taking off in all these things. They're allowed to have those freedoms. Now, because I guess the governments don't see an economical release from this, because I don't see personally why you would want to take this away from the athletes, but I guess they found a reason and now they're taking it away, and it's really taken away from the fans, and that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. The fact that these athletes don't have a right to choose, once again, super unfortunate. But with that being said, it's the NBA, and if you play in these leagues, you got to follow the league's rules. And that's how it goes at the end of the day. So, fuck, for all the things that I just said, it's unfortunate that the NBA has that type of power over the players.
Well, you try that at your job. That's wants you to be mandatory vaccinated. You try that when your friend has a birthday party that says, "Hey man, I haven't seen you in a long time, but are you vaccinated?" No. Sorry, man. I'm just saying it's everywhere. The NBA is not unique or special in that way. Like we just talked about the vaccine passport here in Ontario and the limitations you have if you're not vaccinated. So like I said, if I'm Kyrie Irving, I'm just like, enough with the bullshit. What are we doing here? Do I have an extended vacation?
Yeah, he's like, I guess I'm not playing in any home games. And like for Andrew Wiggins, it's $15 million loss, right? But that's Andrew Wiggins's contract. Kyrie Irving's contract is way bigger.
So
So this could easily be like, not like 30. I'm not talking anything crazy, but this could easily be like an easy like 20 mil that he's losing.
the point is, and I'll keep it simple and straight to the I'll keep it simple here. And I'm not pocket watching or anything like that. But if you are firm in your beliefs, what's 20 million?
Yeah.
Because if you truly believe that this vaccine might have adverse effects in the future, or it goes against whatever. What's 20 million? Fuck, what's 100 million?
Yeah.
Well, what are you gonna do with $100 million if you can't, if you're not around to spend it, or whatever you think could happen if you get vaccinated? So that's what I'm saying. Just be firm, and you just be like, what are we doing here? I don't know why I keep saying this. What are we doing? Stop wasting my time. Don't drag my name through the mud. Stop putting me in these headlines. Let the people them know what's going on. Because if I'm not playing any home games, I'm cool with that. I'm not gonna be in the stadium. I'll watch from the hotel room or whatever y'all need me to do, and I'll be kicking it. That's what I'm doing. And
I feel like people are just mad. I feel like people are just mad because they might have gotten the shot for reasons other than for the actual reason of the vaccine. You know, a lot of people got the shot for outside reasons. They want to travel. I want to be able to go to restaurants. I want to be able to go to clubs. And people get mad when there's somebody who makes a decision and says, no, I don't have those desires that you have are not strong enough for me to make a decision that I don't feel comfortable with. Okay. And if I don't feel comfortable with it, I'm not going to make it. So I give the utmost respect to Kyrie Irving and any athlete, any celebrity, anybody in the limelight who has chosen to stand firm in their decision making, regardless of which side it's on. But obviously those on the side of the unvaccinated more, because let's face it, it's more difficult at this time to make that decision. So respect to everybody out there.
I'm just done with the with this whole
Division.
Yeah. Is the right word. I'm just done with it. So as long as you're not impacting me and you don't take it personally, if I make a decision that may exclude you, then we could coexist, you know, because I'm not going to come for you because you don't want to be vaccinated, and that's fine. But as long, like I said, if I have to make a decision where you not being vaccinated has no adverse effects, don't be mad then. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, and I'll say it again every time. Just because you're not vaccinated doesn't mean you can't come to my house. It's just about how you living your life. You washing them hands, you social distancing, you wearing your mask. How are you living? Because being vaccinated doesn't prevent you from spreading this shit. But anyways, yeah, man. That's interesting. Definitely not the last we'll hear about this for sure. $20 million though.
Yeah, man. At least I'm guessing. That's just me guessing. Because if I'm comparing Andrew Wiggins and Kyrie Irving's contract, it's gotta be more than Andrew Wiggins is losing.
That's a lot of damn money to start get a shot.
Hey, is it worth it? Is it worth going against your morals for him? It's not. Stand up guy. That's the guy you want in your corner.
My arm still hurts. August 6th. Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Deuces. It does hurt still.
No, it doesn't. Does it seriously?
Yeah, it still hurts.
That's that. Well, you know what? At least if you get it, you won't. Your symptoms won't be as severe. There you go. My glass is half full today.
Leave it in the comments.
Yo, thanks for watching that video, making it all the way to the end. You made it this far, you have to like. Please subscribe and comment on the video as well. Join the conversation.
Absolutely. We finally hit our goal of 500 subscribers. Yes, we are trying to get to 1,000. And we can only do that with your help. You can start by watching that next video. You see that tiny little icon? Click on that icon, rinse and repeat. Deuces.
Deuce.